Okay, real talk. Have you ever had the perfect trade setup lined up, but missed it because one of your kids needed something, or your appointment ran late, or you had work, or maybe you were just completely burnt out and couldn't bring yourself to focus? Because that is literally my life. I've missed so many trades, and not because I didn't see them, but because I couldn't be there. My kids have sports every single day of the week. I'm talking Monday through to Sunday, some of them playing 2 sports at once, and it never ends. On top of that, I work inside 𝗖𝗵𝗃𝗹𝗹, I run Zoom sessions throughout the week, create content like this, host private coaching calls, and spend time inside our Discord answering questions. By the way, this is not me complaining at all. But in the early days, I struggled a lot with trying to trade in the middle of all of that. I'd force trades, jump in under pressure, and then wonder why things weren't working. But I've learned how to move past that. I used to think that consistency meant trading every day, forcing it and hustling through it. But honestly, I didn't understand what consistency looked like until I'd already lost a lot of money. That was my wake-up call. There were, and still are sometimes, moments where I asked myself, can I actually keep doing this? Can I really be a great mum, stay present with my family and still trade well? Hi, my name is Janet and this is 𝗖𝗵𝗃𝗹𝗃. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Be sure to hit the like button nice and early and subscribe if you're not already subscribed so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So here's what I've come to learn. You don't need a perfect schedule and you don't need 10 hours a day. You don't even need to trade every day. What you do need is a plan that fits into your life even when life gets messy. And honestly, one of the biggest things that's helped me is knowing the model we trade. It gives structure, it gives clarity, it helps me to schedule trading around my life instead of trying to squeeze trading into chaos. So in this video, I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'll walk you through how to stay grounded, stay consistent, and still grow as a trader, even if your life isn't picture perfect. Most people think consistency is about being perfect. Wake up at 5 a.m, journal, meditate, backtest, trade, win, repeat. But let's be honest, that's not always realistic. What you need is a system that bends with your life, not breaks under it, because the reality is the markets don't care if you've had 4 hours of sleep. They don't pause for daycare pickups or Zoom calls. So what do? We adapt. And the best traders I know aren't just chart smart. They've learned how to build consistency despite the chaos. And that's exactly what I want to help you with in this video. So you can stop feeling behind and start trading with clarity, confidence, and control, even if your world's a bit messy. Look, day trading looks sexy online. You've seen it, people chilling on the beach, flexing entries on socials like they're catching trades between sips of cocktails. But let's be real, you're not seeing anything on your screen when the sun's beaming straight at it. And who really wants to stare at the charts when there's an ocean view right in front of you? Not to mention, the sand in your keyboard? Yeah, no thanks. And those people who say they sit in front of the charts catching moves all day, that's not freedom. That's just another 9 to 5 in disguise. So let me ask you something. Is that actually sustainable for you? Maybe swing trading fits better. Maybe the UK session fits your lifestyle more than trading the US session. Your trading style needs to match your life, not some influencer's highlight reel. So here's what I want you to think about. How much screen time do you really have? When are you most mentally sharp? And can you afford to miss trades without FOMO ruining your day? Your lifestyle should shape your trading routine, not the other way around. Now, I want to show you an indicator that we use within TTC, and I'm pretty sure you would have it too, but if you don't, this indicator is called the market session times, and it shows you the 3 main trading sessions each day, which are Asia, UK, and US. If you do not already have this indicator, simply come up to indicators, type in market session times, and select the one from 𝗖𝗵𝗃𝗹𝗃. It's going to give you the market session times at the top of your chart. And by double clicking on the indicator, it'll bring up the settings and you can go through and change the color of the dots, bring up the moon cycles, or make any edits to the indicator here. Just to give you a brief overview of what the market session times indicator is and what the dots mean, etc., the shaded background you see from 5 p.m. New York to 8 p.m. New York is what we call the dead gap zone, and this is the zone where technically the markets aren't open, so you can get unexpected behavior within this shaded zone. Then we have a 30-minute gap before the Asia session opens, with these 4 dots at the end of the Asia session representing where we would expect an extension, whether that be to the upside or downside. We then go into a 30-minute gap before the UK session opens, and same with the UK session, you can see the coloured dots in the last hour, also where we expect what we call the UK burst. We then pass into a 30-minute gap before the US session starts, and here where the dots are coloured is the first 3 hours of the US session, and this is clearly marked out because within TTC there is a trade setup called the New York reversal, and if it is going to happen, it'll happen within the first 3 hours of the US session. Then we go back into the dead gap zone for the start of a new day. Each session has their own typical behaviours. Ideally, we want Asia to consolidate within a 1 to 2% range. UK typically runs a trend, and US can either decide to reverse that trend or continue with that trend. If you are new to the model we trade and the sessions don't give you their typical behaviours, then you automatically know that today is not a trading day and to have the day off. From here, we want to think about your typical week. What does that look like? In this example, I've got many different scenarios of what your day might look like because not everyone's day looks the same. And if you are this guy, you need trading more than ever. But what you want to do anyway is go through and map out what your typical week, typical day looks like. When do your kids go to school? When are there sports games? When do you work? Do you have any appointments? Do you have a dedicated time where you are cleaning and cooking or catching up with the girls or just lifing in general? Now you want to look for the gaps in your schedule, the times where you are actually free and can focus. Maybe that's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. each day. Maybe you have 2 free mornings per week. And once you find those empty spaces in your day, what you want to do is match the empty time blocks to the market session times indicator. Down in the bottom right corner of TradingView, you can change this to your local time, as the market session times indicator is always correct and shows you the New York time. Now, if your free space window overlaps with the UK session open, then that's your session to trade. If the US session starts when you're already asleep or knee deep in work or family stuff, then that session's off the table. If you have an empty space after you've done your morning routine and dropped the kids off to school and you're there for the start of the Asia session, then that is your session to trade. So let's say your day does look something like this, where the dead gap zone starts at 5 a.m. your time. You get your morning routine and your school prep done, take the kids to school, and all of that is done by 8 a.m. That means your free time before you go to the gym, have lunch, do work, errands and housework is around the Asia session open, and your next block of free time is around the UK session open. Then this means you have a pretty good trading day to work with, because ideally the best time to hunt for your entries or your setup is around the first 60 to 90 minutes of a session open. So currently I am on the 15-minute time frame, which means each one of these dots that you see on the market session times indicator represents one 15-minute candle. And if I overlay our schedule, you can see that we would be able to catch the first 90 minutes of the Asia session, which is an ideal time to hunt for your entries. And the same goes for our blocked out trading time here. We get to catch the first 60 to 90 minutes of the UK session, which is another ideal area to look for our entry. But what about this trading block here? Because clearly we can see we have the space of a couple of hours free. However, it looks a little different to the start of the Asia and UK session, where we actually catch the last hour of UK and the first 45 minutes to an hour of the US session. And this is where I'm going to give you a little tip. Where you see the 4 coloured dots at the end of the UK and Asia session, these are not ideal times to be trading because of the Asia extension and the UK burst. We don't want to be opening trades at the end of the sessions. So this already blocks out a no trade zone, which leaves us with the start of the US session. Now, with a schedule like this, would you trade the start of this US session? Because I've just mentioned the best time to catch trades are around the start of the session. When it comes to US, it's a little bit different. Clearly you can see the 12 coloured dots for the start of the US session. And yes, this is an ideal time to trade. However, our sleep schedule cuts into the coloured dots here. Now, unless you were willing to give up a few hours of sleep and stay up for the first 3 hours of the US session, then you wouldn't trade it. And instead, you would let the US session be and come back the next day. In a nutshell, the only sessions that your schedule allows you to trade is the Asia session and the UK session. US session cuts into your sleeping time, and if you can't be there for the first 3 hours to look for the New York reversal trade setup, then you just let it be. And here's why that's powerful. Once you know which session fits into your life, you can stop chasing setups during the others. You don't need to be checking charts during the kids' sporting practice or feeling guilty for missing a move at 2 a.m. in the morning. Your time block is your trading session. Anything outside of that, you let it go. And that makes trading feel a whole lot lighter. Now here's the thing. Not every day or week is the same, and life can throw us curveballs. So even when your life feels like absolute chaos, there are still a few things that you can control, and these are your non-negotiables. These are the anchors that hold your trading steady when the rest of your week gets flipped upside down. This part doesn't need to be complicated, and it doesn't need to take hours, but it does need to happen every single week. And here's what I recommend. A weekly review. This doesn't need to be fancy, just sit down once a week, even if it's just 15 minutes on a Sunday, and look at your past trades. Having a trading journal makes this step so much easier, but what you want to do is find out what worked, what didn't, and what mistakes did you repeat. It's not about beating yourself up, it's about noticing patterns. That 15-minute review can save you from repeating the same errors again and again. Number 2, a basic trading plan. Now, you should already have one. However, with the work we've just discussed beforehand, you can now map it out with a little more clarity before the week begins. You're not going to magically make better decisions in the middle of chaos, but you can make smart ones in advance. So after you've spent the 15 minutes reviewing your week, take a little extra time to write out what pairs are you going to focus on trading this week, what sessions are you going to trade dependent on the schedule, and what setups you're waiting for. That way, when the market gets loud, your plan keeps you quiet. And number 3 is to lock in your risk per trade. This one isn't optional, and you want to decide this before the week starts. Is it going to be 1% or 2%? But you really want to lock it in and don't adjust mid-trade based on emotion. This is how you protect your capital and your confidence, because when you know your maximum risk ahead of time, you don't spiral if a trade goes against you. These 3 things, a review, a plan, and a locked in risk to reward, don't take much time, but they give you structure and they give you boundaries. And these few actions alone will help keep you grounded. If you need an exchange to trade on, consider checking out Bitunix. It is non-KYC, so you can access it from anywhere in the world. Bitunix offers spot and futures trading, and they've recently introduced an earn program, which means you can now stake your crypto to earn passive interest on it. By using the link in the description below, you'll get a lifetime 20% trading fee rebate on all of your trades. That's not just a one-time welcome bonus, it's for life. So if you're looking for a reliable exchange to trade on, check out Bitunix and make sure to use the link below to get your fee rebate. Alright, so by now you've hopefully looked at your week and found your session time, the time where life gives you a little breathing room and it happens to overlap with a market session open. But let's take it one step further, because it's not just about knowing when you can trade, it's about protecting that time. What I do and what I recommend for anyone juggling a busy life is block that trading time out like a meeting, literally. Go to your calendar and mark it. Label it trading session, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m, and treat it with the same respect you'd give any other appointment. And this might sound simple, but it does two powerful things. It stops you from trying to squeeze in trades at random moments, and it tells your brain this is trading time, nothing else needs to happen right now. And when that block is over, you close the charts, get back to life. No more checking price whilst you're at the gym. No more stressing at dinner because Bitcoin has moved. That mental boundary is key. We don't need to be available all day to trade well. We just need to be present when we are. So if you've already figured out when you're free and which session fits, the next step is to block it out and treat it like gold. Now let's talk about something that's hard for most traders. Just because you're at the charts does not mean there is a trade to take. And look, I get it. You've made the time for the session, you're sitting down and you're ready to go. But the market, it's either dead, choppy, or just not giving you what you've been waiting for. And here's the thing, to put it simply, the market doesn't care. It doesn't care that you've blocked out this specific time to trade. It doesn't care if you're running on 2 hours of sleep. It doesn't care if you have to leave for an appointment in 30 minutes. The market will do what it wants, when it wants. Your job is to respond only when your system says it's time. If there's no setup, you don't take the trade. If the conditions are messy, you don't force it. And if you're tired, distracted, or juggling 10 other things, you simply sit out. And that's not failure, that's professionalism. Consistency doesn't mean trading every single day, it means sticking to your plan, and that includes the days where you don't press the button. No guilt, no FOMO, that's protecting your capital, protecting your peace, and trading like someone who's in for the long run, not just chasing action. So if the setup's not there, and it doesn't meet your entry criteria, it doesn't give you the pattern you were looking for, then let it go. If the session you blocked out doesn't give you a clean opportunity, that's okay. You've already done the hard work by creating a routine that fits your life. You've already used tools like the market session times and your calendar to figure out when you're most likely to be free and focused. Now it's about knowing that some days, that time block, there will be a trade, and other days, there won't be. And both are wins because you're staying aligned with the plan. Once your plan is in place, the next thing to focus on is your mindset. If you're loving this structure and want to learn for yourself and see it applied in real time, join us inside 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗵. We've built a membership system that gives you access to everything we offer, from beginner courses to advanced strategy breakdowns. These are the exact strategies we teach and talk about on this channel. Inside the membership, you'll get access to the full course content, our daily market updates, and our custom indicators, which are the same ones you see Annie and I use in our videos. So whether you like to learn independently or thrive in a community setting with live support, we've built something to match your style. You can check out the options and see what feels right for you by using the link below. When life feels hectic, those emotions don't just stay in the background, they show up in your trading. That's when you start second guessing yourself or forcing entries or exiting too early because your head's not in the right place. And often, it's not that the trade setup was bad, it's that you weren't mentally ready to execute well. And if this is you, I would recommend having a simple reset ritual. Something small but intentional that helps you shift into the calm, grounded state before you enter the market. Now, your reset ritual doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about copying someone else's process. It's about finding your thing that brings you back to center. You could try something like taking 5 deep breaths, writing out your bias so you can get clear on what you're actually seeing, visualizing the process, not the outcome, stepping away from the screen for a few minutes before you place the trade, meditation, going for a walk. These are just ideas, but the point is to create space between whatever else is going on in your day and the mindset you need to trade. Because you want to be showing up to your trades with presence, clarity, and confidence, not rushing with stress, fatigue, or emotion from something else you were just doing. So whatever helps you reset, whether it's a breath, a walk, a journal entry, a playlist, or a hot coffee, build that in. Because the goal is simple. You want to protect your mental capital just as much as your money. When time is tight, you need tools that help you stay efficient. Tools that let you trade with intention without babysitting the chart all day. So this is where you want to take advantage of trading view alerts. Set them at your key or ideal entry zones. This helps you avoid staring at candles all day and getting emotionally pulled in by every big green or red candle that happens before price even gets into your planned entry range. Let the alert do the work and bring you back when it's actually time to make a decision. And outside of your live trading window, when you've got the space to slow down and reflect, that's when you want to take advantage of other tools like the replay mode to backtest setups, refine your execution and spot repeatable patterns, and your trading journal. Whether it's a spreadsheet or digital tool, your journal should help automate calculations, track your stats, and offload decision fatigue over time. These tools aren't just nice to have, they're your support system. They help you protect your time, reduce emotional noise, and keep your energy focused on what really matters. So if life feels like a mess, here's your reminder. You don't need to be perfect to be consistent. You just need a little structure, a few non-negotiables, a strategy that fits your life, and most importantly, the grace to adapt without quitting.